So this week I thought I would talk about, with Showmasters, our first convention of the year, coming up in about 2 weeks, I thought I would maybe talk about the benefits of buying your cosplay pieces and actually making them. Considering the fact that from last year, with all of our cosplays, I'm going to splatter them all over this. Since last year, we've kind of stepped up our game, at least I think we have, in terms of how much detail. Like, we've actually gone into like our steampunk ones and Amy's Connor Kenway. Or was it Connor or was it Edward? I can't remember. They were very big in detail, but this year, I think, because you haven't seen them yet, I think we're really gonna blow your socks off. This time, instead of buying all of our cosplay pieces, I actually took the more difficult route of actually trying to make some this year, which I don't know how smart a move it was, but it's worked out in some places and it's worked out in other places. So first I'm going to talk about the benefits of buying your own stuff, and then I'll move over to the making of your own stuff. The buying of the cosplay pieces, it can sometimes work out to be a little bit more expensive because you're actually paying for somebody's own goods. So they've taken their time, manufactured it, bought the fabric, labour costs and other things, and then you have to eventually pay for postage depending on where you're getting it from. So, like for example with our steampunk ones, it took a lot of pieces, so it eventually would work out to be quite expensive considering the quality of the stuff you're going for. But at least whenever you're buying the stuff, you know what you're looking for, you have an image built up in your mind of what you want, and you simply just have to go out and look for it. That also can be a bit of a disadvantage because sometimes you can't actually find the thing that you're looking for, which we came across a couple of times. Amy's eBaying skills are a lot better than mine, so half the time whenever I couldn't find the thing I was looking for, I got Amy to do it instead, and she ended up finding most of the stuff that I needed. Another good thing about buying in your cosplay pieces is if you don't have the ability, or you do have the ability but not the funds to invest in stuff like sewing machines and sergers, and if you want to get into making props, stuff like Warbler or anything like that, buying the cosplay stuff like in individual pieces means that you're not reliant on your lack of crafting ability or funds in order to actually do the crafting, which is what me and Amy, well, Amy still likes buying her stuff, that's perfectly fine. Doesn't make her any less of a cosplayer, that goes out to everybody out there. It doesn't make you less of a cosplayer if you don't make your stuff. But I've always wanted to give it a try, so I'm going down that route now. It's a better alternative if you don't want to have the fear of going to a convention and not feeling confident in your outfit because you fear it's going to fall apart, seams might rip if you stuck on with fabric glue or anything like that, it might fall off, and it's just extra stress that you don't want to have to deal with, especially when you're walking around a convention. There's people everywhere, you could be brushing against people, stuff's going to fall off everywhere. But in terms of the benefits of like making your own stuff, the possibilities are endless. If you can make your own cosplay stuff, basically all the praise to you. It's not easy. I've just experienced this now, trying to make my own stuff. When you can make your own cosplay stuff, you can make anything you want. So if you, like, for example, wanted to make, let's see, Asuna from Sword Art Online, to get a costume like hers, like for example, I'm going to put it here. To make a costume like hers, a very specific costume that you can't maybe get by just buying different pieces of it, you can either get it commissioned from somebody, which can also be quite expensive because it's a very specific thing. You could maybe buy it off of wholesalers, but then sometimes, especially with one of the ones that I've seen, wholesalers make it in a specific shape. So like they'll make it for certain busts, certain waists, certain hips, certain arms, that kind of thing. And if you don't fit within that bracket, then it can be very difficult. For example, when I did my Kairi cosplay, the wholesaler ones I was finding, in order for me to fit them on my waist, they would be far too large on my bust, because That's just the way they were made. Which sucks, but that's the way it is. Wholesalers can't make costumes for every shape and size. It just doesn't work that way. For the case of Asuna, if you can make your own cosplays, you can make that easily. Because if you have the ability and the know-how, it's just the case of buying the right fabric, making sure your measurements are all correct, and then just sitting down, taking your time, measure twice, cut once, is what I've learned. And basically you get the feeling of walking around, being at a convention, being proud in what you've produced because you've actually made this thing. That's not saying either that if you do buy all of your cosplay pieces that you can't walk around proudly in your own cosplay because you put the thing together. It might be a different, like what mine and Amy's have did is, Amy's and mine are all different interpretations of stuff. So the steampunk ones, for example, completely different versions of obviously the original material, and our own version of steampunk ones. My version of Link, gender bent, so what I imagined a female Link would look like. And Amy's gender bent everything, so just go look at her, she's gender bent everything. That would be a good benefit of it. You get to walk around proudly and say, hey, I made this is good. Now, one thing I have learned when I'm trying to make my own cosplay stuff, because I have tried to do it this time for the two cosplays that I have for Showmasters, not telling you what they are yet, that will be released next week in our cosplay journey video, shameless little plug there. But I tried to make 2 skirts, one of which was a success and I will be actually wearing at the convention, the other one didn't work. I also tried to make a top, that didn't work either, so I just had to go and buy one off the internet, and I have modified some things. So some things I bought online and I've changed them in some way. So I've definitely become a bit more hands-on in terms of the stuff that I'm actually doing. But I wouldn't say that I'm still very much a beginner. Not going to stop trying to make my own things by any means. I have a big one that I'm trying to plan for September when Showmasters comes back on again. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but there's plenty of time between, because this is May, and plenty of time between now and then to do that. So hopefully that works out. This is kind of a bit of a rambling video because I kind of didn't have anything else to think about. But to summarise, if you can make your own stuff, by all means do so. You're awesome, I'm jealous of your talent, and just have fun whatever convention you're going to and whatever costume you want, because it'll be so amazing. You get to dress up as this character that you love and idolise and get to share it with everybody else. And if you buy your stuff, it doesn't make you any less of a cosplayer. You still want to become this character. You still want to show your love of this franchise to the convention's audience. And you basically just want to have a day of make-believe. And by all means, if you want to try making some of your cosplay pieces, try, by all means. You're never going to know if you can do it if you don't try. And don't be so surprised if it doesn't work out the first time. The first time I tried to use my sewing machine, it chugged at me, the material got stuck at least 7 times, and I was panicking. Like, I was at the machine with the little scissors going nyeh, 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 and I was going to film making one of my skirts, but this was the skirt that worked, and I was so focused in just getting this right, I didn't even think. But in closing, cosplay is awesome. Keep doing cosplay if you do, and if you haven't done cosplay before, why haven't you not? It is so much fun. You literally get to be any character you want to be, so you should try it. But in the meantime, Amy next week will be premiering our cosplay journey for Showmasters, the first Showmasters of the year. That was number 2. The first Showmasters of the year, which will be in 2 weeks. And then after the cosplay journey, the video won't be up on Monday after the convention because it's just after the convention, but it will be at some point during that week. Okay, so until next time, don't forget to do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. If you're seeing this and you're going to Showmasters in Belfast, by all means, comment below, tell me what you're going as, I want to know. And hopefully, I'll see you there. Okay guys, until next time, bye!